Hello, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. Today, we're going to explore the basic parts of a computer system. I'm excited to have you here. In this session, we'll introduce the main components that make up a computer and see how they work together. We'll cover the essential parts and their functions, giving you a clear understanding of how computers operate. Let's get started. Let's take a quick look at the contents of today's presentation. We'll start with the introduction, then move into understanding what a computer is. After that, we'll explore the different types of computer hardware, including input and output devices. We'll have sections dedicated to specific devices like the mouse, monitor, keyboard, speakers, and printer. Finally, we'll wrap up with a summary in the conclusion. This outline helps us see the big picture of how computers work and the essential components involved. Throughout the presentation, I'll be connecting these ideas to give you a clear understanding of the role each part plays in our digital world. Let's take a closer look at the basic parts of a computer system. First, we have the monitor, which is like the TV screen that displays everything you're working on. It shows the images, videos, and text that you see on your computer. Next is the CPU, or Central Processing Unit, which is often called the brain of the computer. It processes all the instructions and makes everything run smoothly. Moving on, we have the mouse, which is an essential input device that allows us to point, click, and interact with the computer easily. The speakers are also important because they let us hear sounds, music, and even communicate through audio. Lastly, there's the keyboard, which we use to type and give commands. And of course, the printer, which is used to produce physical copies of documents and images. Understanding these parts helps us see how each component plays a vital role in making the computer work efficiently as a whole. Let's talk about what a computer really is. A computer is a programmable electronic device, which means we can give it instructions through software. It's designed to accept data, process it using mathematical and logical operations, and do all this at incredible speeds. The results are then displayed for us to see. When we say software, we're referring to the programs or instructions that control the computer's operation. Now, computers come in many forms: mainframes, desktops, laptops, tablets, smartphones, all different types but sharing the same core functions. They are electronic machines that help us solve problems quickly and easily, which is a huge advantage. The key idea here is that computers solve problems based on the instructions we give them. These are called programs or software. And because they are digital machines, they use binary digits, zeros and ones, to process all information. This means computers are essential tools in every field, helping us work faster, more efficiently, and more accurately. So, understanding what a computer is and what it does sets the foundation for how we use them in our daily and professional lives. A computer is an electronic machine that processes data, and that's a key point to remember. When we talk about information given to the computer, we call that data. The computer takes this data and transforms it into useful information. One of the reasons computers are so valuable is because they work very fast, much faster than we can do things manually. This speed helps save us a lot of time and energy, making tasks more efficient. Another important aspect is accuracy. Unlike humans, computers do not make mistakes if they are programmed correctly. They also have the remarkable ability to remember a large amount of information, which helps in storing data for future use. In the picture here, you can see the basic parts of a computer. Understanding these parts helps us see how all these functions come together to make the computer a powerful tool. So, in the context of our overall theme, knowing what a computer is and how it works is fundamental because it underpins how we interact with technology in our daily lives. Let's talk about computer hardware, which refers to all the physical parts of a computer. This includes essential components like the Central Processing Unit, or CPU, which acts as the brain of the computer, as well as the monitor for display and the keyboard for input. We also have data storage devices that keep your files safe, and graphics and sound cards that enhance visual and audio performance. The motherboard is like the backbone, connecting all these parts together. Now, it's important to distinguish hardware from software. Hardware is the physical, tangible part, what you can actually touch. Software, on the other hand, consists of instructions or programs that tell the hardware what to do. Think of hardware as hard because it's rigid and not easily changed, while software is soft because it can be updated or modified quickly. There's also an interesting middle ground called firmware. Firmware is a special type of software that is embedded into hardware, tightly linked to specific components. It's the most challenging to change but remains very stable, ensuring consistent operation across the system. Connecting this back to our overall theme, understanding hardware helps us appreciate how software functions smoothly and how both are vital for the computer to work effectively. Let's talk about input devices, starting with the keyboard, which is probably the most common one. When you press a key, it sends information directly to the computer, allowing you to interact with it effectively. In a broader sense, an input device is any piece of hardware that provides data and control signals to an information processing system, like a computer or even a smart device. You might be surprised by the variety of input devices out there. Besides keyboards, we have mice, scanners, digital cameras, and joysticks, each serving different purposes. Audio input devices are also becoming more important, especially with technologies like speech recognition. Companies are increasingly using voice commands to make devices easier and more intuitive to use. Connecting all these points to our overall theme, understanding input devices helps us grasp how humans and machines communicate seamlessly. It's a fundamental part of how we interact with technology every day. Now, let's talk about the first part of a computer, the monitor. The monitor is essentially your window to everything happening inside the computer. It displays all the images, videos, text, and interfaces that you interact with daily. Without it, the computer wouldn't be very useful because you wouldn't be able to see any of the information or feedback. Think of it as the screen through which you communicate with your device. It's one of the most important components because it connects the complex workings of the computer to your everyday experience. So, whenever you're working or playing, remember that the monitor is what brings all those digital elements to life right in front of you. Let's talk about what a monitor actually is. A computer monitor is an output device, which means it's what we use to see the information our computer is processing. Think of it as the window through which we view everything happening inside the computer. It displays information in pictorial form, so instead of just text, we see images, videos, graphs, and more. A typical monitor usually includes several key components: the display device itself, the circuitry that controls what's shown, the casing that houses everything, and a power supply to keep it running. Historically, older monitors used something called a cathode ray tube, or CRT. These were quite bulky and heavy, but served as the main technology for many years. Today, most monitors are flat panel displays, which are much sleeker and more energy efficient. Understanding monitors is crucial because they're our primary interface with the computer. They turn digital data into visual information, making it accessible and understandable. So, whenever we think about using or upgrading a computer, the monitor's quality and technology play a big role in our overall experience. Now, let's move on to the second part of a computer, which is the CPU. The CPU, or Central Processing Unit, is often called the brain of the computer because it handles all the instructions and calculations needed to run programs. It processes data, makes decisions, and controls the other parts of the computer to work together smoothly. Think of it as the control center that keeps everything running efficiently. Understanding the CPU is key because it directly impacts the speed and performance of a computer. So, as we continue, keep in mind how crucial this tiny but powerful component really is to the overall functioning of the system. Let's talk about the CPU, which is actually pronounced by spelling out each letter. CPU, it stands for Central Processing Unit, which is essentially the core of the computer. Sometimes you'll hear it called the central processor, but more often, it's just referred to as the processor. Think of the CPU as the brain of the computer, because this is where most of the calculations and processing tasks happen. It's responsible for executing instructions, managing data, and coordinating all the other components. Understanding the CPU is key because it directly impacts the overall performance and speed of a computer system. So, whenever we talk about how powerful or efficient a computer is, we're really talking about the capabilities of its CPU. Now, let's talk about the third part of a computer, which is the keyboard. The keyboard is essentially the main input device we use to communicate with the computer. It's what allows us to type text, give commands, and interact with software. When you think about it, the keyboard is like the computer's way of understanding what we want it to do. It's made up of a variety of keys, each serving different functions: letters, numbers, function keys, and special keys like Enter, Shift, and Control. These keys work together to help us input information quickly and efficiently. Understanding how the keyboard fits into the overall system is important because it's the primary way we control and interact with our computers on a daily basis. So, in essence, the keyboard is a vital part of our digital communication and control interface. Let's take a closer look at what a keyboard really is in the context of computing. Essentially, a computer keyboard is a device that resembles a typewriter, but with a modern twist. It uses an arrangement of buttons or keys, which can act as mechanical levers or electronic switches, to input data into the computer. Historically, before keyboards became standard, we relied on punch cards and paper tapes to communicate with machines. But as technology evolved, these methods declined in popularity. Instead, interaction through teleprinter-style keyboards emerged as the primary way we input information into computers. This shift marked a significant change in how humans and machines communicate, moving toward more direct and efficient methods. So, in the bigger picture of understanding computer interfaces, knowing what a keyboard is and its evolution helps us appreciate how user input has become more intuitive and accessible over time. Now, let's move on to the fourth part of a computer, which is the mouse. The mouse is an essential device that allows us to interact with the computer in a very intuitive way. It's what we use to point, click, and navigate through different programs and files. When you think about it, the mouse acts as our hand inside the digital world. It helps us select items, open applications, and even scroll through pages effortlessly. Understanding the mouse is important because it connects to the overall theme of how we communicate and work with computers in a user-friendly manner. It's a simple tool, but it makes a huge difference in how we operate technology every day. A computer mouse is a handheld pointing device. It detects two-dimensional motion relative to a surface, meaning it tracks movement across a plane. This motion is usually translated into the movement of a pointer on the computer screen. Essentially, when you move the mouse, the pointer moves accordingly, giving you precise control. This allows for smooth navigation and interaction with the graphical user interface. So, in the overall theme of understanding computer peripherals, the mouse is fundamental because it provides an intuitive way to control and interact with digital environments. Now, moving on to the fifth part of a computer, which is the speaker. The speaker is responsible for producing sound, allowing us to listen to audio from our computer. Whether it's music, videos, or even voice alerts, the speaker makes sure we hear what we need to. It's a vital component for multimedia and communication. Without it, our computer's ability to deliver audio would be impossible. So, when thinking about how computers function as a complete system, the speaker plays a crucial role in delivering a full experience. Let's take a closer look at what a speaker actually is. Essentially, a speaker is a device that converts analog audio signals into air vibrations. These vibrations are what we perceive as sound, allowing us to hear audio from computers or other devices. It's interesting to note that back when CRT monitors were common, computer speakers were specifically designed to be shielded. This shielding was necessary to prevent magnetic interference with the CRT's magnetic coil, which could distort the image or affect the monitor's performance. So overall, the speaker plays a crucial role in making digital audio audible, and understanding its design helps us appreciate how audio technology has evolved over time. Now, moving on to the sixth and final part of a computer, which is the printer. The printer is an essential device because it allows us to convert digital documents into physical copies. Whether it's a report, a photograph, or a presentation slide, the printer makes it possible to have a tangible version of digital content. It's a key component that bridges the gap between the digital world and the physical world. Throughout this presentation, we've seen how each part plays a vital role in the overall functioning of a computer, and the printer is no exception. It's the device that brings your digital work to life in a physical form, making it accessible and shareable in the real world. A printer, in simple terms, is a device that takes the digital information from your computer, whether it's text or graphics, and transfers it onto paper. Usually, this means standard-sized sheets of paper, making your digital work tangible and easy to handle. Printers come in a variety of sizes, speeds, and levels of sophistication, and they also differ in cost. It's interesting to note that generally, the more expensive printers tend to offer higher resolution color printing, which is ideal for professional quality images and detailed graphics. This variety allows us to choose a printer that best fits our specific needs, whether for basic document printing or high-quality color outputs. Overall, understanding these differences helps us make smarter decisions when selecting a printer, especially as it relates to our overall digital workflow and productivity. Thank you for watching. I hope this presentation has provided you with valuable insights and a clear understanding of the key concepts we've discussed. Remember, the main takeaway is the importance of applying these ideas in your own work to make a meaningful impact. I appreciate your time and attention, and I look forward to seeing how you use this knowledge moving forward.